Alright, if I see one more below new morning routine video telling me to wake up at 4 a.m. and take an ice bath, I'm gonna scream. Now, there's this myth in the productivity world that implies that if you're not suffering, you are not succeeding. But that is not true. Yes, there is hard work that you need to put, there are sacrifices that you need to make, however, you do not need to burn out. So today, I'm gonna share my anti-hustle morning routine. And it's not about doing more in the morning before 9 a.m. It's about starting your day with intention so you do not crash out by 5 p.m. And more importantly, I'm gonna show you why your routine needs to break sometimes. The secret to this routine is not the wake up time, it's the weekly reset. And I use my free weekly reset blueprint to adjust my mornings based on my work schedule for the week. If you want to build your career and grow your side hustle without a grind culture, I want you to hit subscribe and let's slow down and get productive. Now, I want to tell you about one of my clients, right? When she started working with me, she was feeling like a failure because she couldn't stick to a routine. Now, she got a major life change, right? She got a new job in a new city, and she was also moving from working remotely to working on site. And as a result of this, her whole system completely fell apart, and she was finding it hard to reset, and that made her feel paralyzed. Now, using the system that I teach in my program, we did not force her to move back into a box. However, we built a system that fit her new reality. We clarified her one thing, which is the number one priority for her new season, and she stopped trying to do everything and focus on that one thing. And the result, she said, it was the biggest game changer. She felt less overwhelmed and she regained her focus. She was actually able to make progress with her goals because she wasn't fighting against her actual life, her actual reality. Now, this right here is the power of flexible routines. So first, we're going to start with your wake up routine, right? And this should focus on intentionality rather than speed. When exactly should you wake up? Should you wake up at 4 a.m., 5 a.m., 6 a.m., 10 a.m.? I wake up between 7 and 8, sometimes later, sometimes earlier. And my wake up routine has changed depending on different seasons in my life and different things that are happening, right? If I'm working remotely, trust me, I sleep in. If I have to drive to work, I wake up early. I try to maintain a wake up time. Honestly, that's really hard for me. Like, it's really hard sometimes, but for the most part, I wake up between 7 and 8 a.m. And again, for years, I did feel so guilty about that. And that's simply because the internet and many people out there are a lot of videos that tell you that if you want to be successful, you have to wake up before the sun rises. Honestly, there are advantages to that, honestly, because I have had a system where I wake up at 5:30 a.m. and it makes your day feel longer. So I do understand and appreciate that school of thought. However, you cannot build a sustainable side project or business or even your career when you are sleep deprived. Because if I wake up at 5 a.m. but by 2 p.m. I am a zombie, I really haven't gained time, right? I have lost energy. So the first thing you want to take note of or focus on in your morning routine or your wake up time is the no scroll zone. The first thing that I do or the first thing that I don't do is just pick up my phone. I'm not gonna lie, sometimes I do. Most of the time, it depends on what I think about before I go to sleep, right? But I try not to. I really try not to pick up my phone when I wake up in the morning. It will become a habit the more you intentionally do it, but sometimes I can't help it. And here's the truth. The moment you pick up your phone and you open maybe Instagram, you open an email, you open YouTube, you start checking texts or messages and all of that, you are starting your day in reaction mode. And you're just letting other people's emotions and issues dictate how you feel and how the rest of your day is going to pan out. You're letting other people's emergencies and school of thoughts and issues and worries actually dictate your mood. It's going to dictate how your day is going to pan out for the most part. So the fix is you really want to be intentional during this time. You want to maybe meditate, you want to pray, you just want to take some time for yourself, right? Be intentional and focus on you, because that really sets the intention for the rest of your day mentally. For the most part, it's going to set the intention mentally, right? You really want to be intentional about this 15 minutes when you wake up. Even if you just want to stretch, you want to meditate, you want to pray, you just want to take a couple of minutes to focus on internalizing and building the mood for the morning and hopefully the rest of the day, because sometimes shit happens. And that brings me to the second thing for your mornings, and this is your anchor. So personally, instead of rushing to do things or just picking up my phone when I manage not to, the first 15 minutes I focus on meditating, I focus on praying before I start my day. And the goal here is not trying to be productive yet, right? Again, it's trying to be intentional. There are times when I skip, maybe if I woke up late or if I'm hurrying or if something pops up, but for the most part, whenever I take some time to meditate, to pray in the morning, that really sets the tone of the day. That just gives you a different kind of mood than when you wake up and then you pick up your phone and you're looking at social media and all of the issues that are happening in the world, in other people's lives, right? That just brings your mood down. So I have to know, and please be honest with me in the comments. Are you naturally an early bird who loves 5 a.m.? Or are you more of a night owl who is actually tired of feeling guilty about it? Personally, I'm a night owl. Sometimes I sleep at 2, sometimes I sleep at 3, and depending on when I sleep, that extends when I wake up. So that is something that I still struggle with. But when I manage to sleep earlier, like 12, 1, then I'm able to get a good sleep and wake up earlier, basically. And listen, if the idea of waking up at about 8 a.m. makes you feel like, oh my God, I am not gonna get enough done, that, my friend, is a planning problem and not a waking up problem. You need a better plan for the hours you already have. And that is exactly what my free 7-step weekly reset blueprint fixes. It helps you map out your week so you can actually reach your goals without the sleep deprivation. So comment weekly guide below in the comment section. I'm going to send it to you, or simply go to the description box below and download the guide so we can get some sleep. Okay. Now, the second part to my anti-hustle morning routine is the inputs, basically what I consume. And this is all about guarding my mind. So when I'm brushing my teeth and getting ready for the morning, I am really particular and intentional about what I let into my mind in the morning. And this is kind of my mental hygiene routine, right? So most people are going to listen to the news or stressful podcasts while they get ready in the morning. But when you do that, you are inviting anxiety into your day even before you put on your shoes. So the first thing you want to do is you want to implement the positive input rule. And this is you intentionally consuming positive stuff only during this time. So what I do is I turn on a message or some gospel music. Most of the time it's a message. I'm going to be listening to a message in the morning so that enforces my identity of who I am before I step out the door, or before I go around getting my stuff done. And the reason for this is because I want to flood my mind with gratitude, contentment, and clarity. I want to be reminded and conscious of who I am before my boss or my email or somebody driving telling me who I am. And for the most part, by the time I sit down to work, I am in good spirits, and mostly everything just bounces off. Mostly. Now, the second thing is the fluid workout, right? So I look at my calendar the night before, and this is when I work from home. If I have an early morning meeting, then I am not going to work out in the morning. I'm going to work out during my lunch breaks. However, if I do not have an early morning meeting, then I am going to work out in the mornings before I start my first meeting. And this right here is the difference between a routine that breaks and a routine that bends, right? You should always have a backup plan, and your routine should be fluid. Sometimes it's going to work out as you want it, maybe for a couple of days or weeks or even months. But when things change, as things come up, which they always do, you always should be ready to change, maybe shift your routines and adjust them as needed. Because here's the deal. If you are rigid, then in my case, for example, an early meeting is just going to break my streak. It means I'm not going to put in my workout, right? If it's a day that I work out, it means I'm not going to put in my workout on that day. However, when you are fluid, you stay consistent, right? You do not cancel the appointment you made with yourself on that day. You just reschedule it. You just adjust it. You shift it. And that is exactly what the weekly reset blueprint actually helps you do throughout the week, right? So make sure you comment weekly resets below. I'm going to send it to you, or go to the description box and download the guide. Now, the final step to this anti-hustle morning system or routine is the seasonality. And this is the power of the reset. I'm going to be honest with you, right? This routine that I shared, this is probably version 3 or 4 within the past year and a half or 2 years. Now, when I had to drive to the office, my routine looked totally different than when I got laid off, because I had to kind of build a new structure to keep me from spiraling. And also when I work remotely, I have kind of a new flow, right? And all of this brings me to what I call the myth of consistency. Most people follow these systems when they have a major life change, a new job, maybe a baby, a move, and sometimes they feel like they failed because they couldn't stick to their plan or they couldn't stick to their routines. But the truth is, your season changed, right? Your life changed. Your circumstance changed. And when your seasons change, you have to change your routine to match that present or that current reality. So I'm going to use this analogy. A winter coat is a great tool, but you can use it in July because you're going to pass out. So your routine is a coat. If it does not fit the weather, you have to change it. And it's not a big deal. You just have to be able to learn how to reset, which we're going to talk about. Which brings me to the second point, which is the art of the reset. The power of your system or your routines is not about how long you're able to keep it perfectly or how long you're able to stick to it. It is how fast you can reset when it breaks or when it no longer suits you. Now, when my schedule shifts or when stuff happens, I do not force the old routine. I sit down and I ask, what does this new reality require of me? If there are aspects of my old routine that I can keep, then I'm gonna keep it, right? I'm gonna maintain the routine as much as I can. However, if you really have to switch things up, that is what is required of you during that season, then go ahead and switch things up. Now, it might take 2 weeks for you to figure all of this out, and even more for you to actually get comfortable with your new routine. That's perfectly okay. You test a new routine, you see what breaks, and you go ahead and adjust it the following week or the following day. Now, my clients that I mentioned before, her big breakthrough wasn't her perfect wake-up time. It was a realization that everything doesn't have to come crushing down because one thing in her life changed. She learned to kind of treat her routine like a software, right? When there's a bug, you're not just gonna throw away the whole thing. You don't throw away your computer when you have some bug in it, right? Sometimes you need to, but all you need to do is install an update, right? Make an update to your system, make an adjustment to it. Your system should always fit your reality and not some guru's fantasy. The power of your system lies in the ability for you to reset as soon as possible when things change. So the best morning routines isn't the one that starts at 5 a.m. It is the one that leaves you energized enough to tackle your one thing and sustainable enough to do it again tomorrow. So if your life has shifted recently and your old routine is not working, do not force it, right? Use my 7-step weekly reset blueprint to audit your schedule and build a new routine that fits your current season and your current reality. So comment weekly reset below. I'm going to send it to you, or go to the description box below and download the guide. Thanks so much for watching. If you like this video, please hit that like button, subscribe to this channel. Also share this video with someone who is trying to build a morning routine or any kind of routine, because this might equally help them on how to structure that. So thanks again for watching. Make sure you watch the video on the screen next, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.